So is the season pretty much over for the Dolphins? Did Jayden Williams put the NFC East on notice? And could Andy Dalton turn things around in Carolina? Well, we'll see if we can find the answers to those questions and a lot of others as we get you ready for another week of fantasy football and NFL football. It is our week 4 preview coming up right here on Fantasy Football Fever, which starts any second now. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is September 24th, 2024. Wherever, whenever, and however you're watching, thanks for making this part of your week. And before I begin, I do want to apologize for Jayden Daniels. I called him Jayden Williams. I guess I'm getting him confused with Caleb Williams, who, of course, is the rookie running back for the Chicago Bears. Apologies to the quarterback from the Washington Commanders. Yes, I flood my names again. So, John Natale, you can.
All right.
And I
award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Wow, this show is off to a rip-roaring start, isn't it?
A riveting start indeed, Timmy. And yes, my name is John Flynn, by the way. So thank you everyone for watching this show, whether it's live or on takeaway.
I think we should try this again here. Yeah. Oh, screw it. Yeah. That, of course, is John Flynn, the host of Hooked on Sports. You can find him anywhere. You can find your podcast. Our commissioner, John Natale, is having a few not really communications, connection problems with his internet, but he will be along for the ride as soon as he can get on here. And boy, a crazy week 3 in the NFL, Flynn, I got to tell you. It's so crazy. We're just 3 weeks into the league, and I guess they say the usual line is after 4 or 5 weeks, you'll really know which direction your team is going. So I guess with that being said, let's do our look back at week 3 last week in the NFL. If I can just press this little button on my laptop here. The Thursday night game. It looks like it's once again a one-sided affair, but it's no longer the Patriots dominating the Jets. The Jets dominated the Patriots 24-3. Aaron Rodgers with 281 passing yards. Braylon Allen had 55 on the ground. Tyler Conklin, I haven't heard that name in quite some time, received 93 yards in that game. So then we had other notable matchups here. I guess Flynn froze up a little bit, but I guess he's coming back here.
Here we go.
All right, Flynn is back with us. I was just
okay.
Mentioning, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, so where do you want to start? Because because again, because the NFL turned in another wild, unpredictable, topsy-turvy week in the National Football League and fantasy in fantasy land, that you have Malik Nabers as the number one wide receiver in fantasy through 3 weeks. You have Dallas Goedert being the number one tight end through 3 weeks. You have Jayden Daniels, the number 2 quarterback, only behind Josh Allen. So Kyren Williams put on a fantastic display. Jawan Jennings put up 46 points last week. So there were some wild things that we have to take a look at. So
why don't we start with Jayden Daniels? I mean, that Washington Cincinnati game Monday night, that really got my attention on that one. Despite the fact Joe Burrow actually passed for 324 yards, Chase Brown rushed for 62, and Jamar Chase received 118 receiving yards on that one. But I think Jayden Daniels came through in the clutch.
Yeah, the Washington was 5 for 9 on third down, and they were 3 for 3 on fourth down. They went for it on fourth down. All 3 times were in the fourth quarter. All attempts to put Cincinnati away. A desperate Cincinnati Bengals team said that was looking for the first win and to avoid an 0-3 start, but boy, Jayden Daniels was dynamite. He was tough. He went 21 of 23 passing and over 90% completion percentage, the highest by a rookie in a single game in NFL history.
Wow.
It was a riveting ball game with so that was the first time since 1940 that a whole game went without a turnover or without a punt. So that was definitely something.
That is probably about as clean of a game as you can get, if you want to call it that. Unbelievable. Yeah.
And I think we might as well start by breaking down a little bit of the Washington and Cincinnati game, and there were a lot of different things that you could take a look at. So I'm looking at the starting with some of the notable snap counts from the week. Brian Robinson got the majority of the snaps and the carries. He only ran for 33 yards and a touchdown. So Cincinnati had a good key on him for much of that game. But Terry McClelland, I think you have to think that his fantasy stock is back up to being a top flight wide receiver. If you have a quarterback playing like this and a quarterback that can play with this much control, so I think Terry McLaurin is a winner from this game, and I think he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver the rest of the season. So also Luke McCaffrey got 44 receiving yards as well, and Zach Ertz had 5 catches for 38 yards. So Ertz turned in 8.8 points performance, which was around where he was projected. And even Austin Eckler got a touchdown as well. So that handcuffed running back situation in Washington. So both turned in good performances for Washington, but and as for Cincinnati, I think a lot of the concerns with Jamar Chase were put to the side for the time being, and I think it had to do with the return of T. Higgins to free him up a little bit. So in term that Jamar Chase and Andre Osiavis each had 7 targets, while T. Higgins had 6. So T. Higgins caught 3 of them, but Jamar Chase was dynamite. 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I think any of the panic with Jamar Chase is pretty much gone. He played all but 1 snap. So I think that's a really a really good sign. Also, Mike Gesicki had 4 catches for 47 yards. So definitely a dip from the 9-catch performance he had the week before in Kansas City. So I would think he would be encouraged by that. So. But Cincinnati's defense has big time issues. I think they have they have issues covering tight ends. They had issues to really stopping the run when it matters the most. So I think if you're looking at someone like Chuba Hubbard to start a running back, I think that could be a really good play here.
That's a little something to consider right there. I'm looking at the first game from last Thursday night, when the New York Jets, behind Aaron Rodgers' 281 rushing yards, they just totally clobbered the New England Patriots 24-3.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
I mean that was a dominant performance. And I went through some of the of how lopsided that really was the other night. So the Jets held the ball for 40 minutes, giving that defense a much needed rest. 27 first downs, 400 to 11. Outgained the Patriots 400 to 139. Let's see, 267 passing yards to 61. So that's how dominant that was.
Yeah, Patriots just fell flat there. Hey, let's talk about your Giants and that nice receiver, Malik Nabers, helping out the Giants to a 21-15 win in Cleveland against the Browns.
All the signs of encouragement last week with the Daniel Jones on display in more big time situations. Two touchdown receptions from Malik Nabers, both after in the last 2 minutes of the first half to turn a tie game into a 21-7 game for the Giants going into the locker room. And I thought Daniel Jones played relatively well, and Daniel Jones making those tough throws that he now as a receiver he can rely on to make those catches. Very similar to what we saw when Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. got going. So I think you have to be really encouraged by that. Now I didn't think Malik Nabers was going to be this good this early because the reason why I couldn't place the proper value on Malik Nabers was that you still had concerns about the quarterback play, and it was evident week one, but the whole Giants offense changes when he's able to when he is able to get going here. So and just punching up some of the numbers here for the Browns and the Giants. 8 catches, I think 78 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I think that was it for Malik Nabers. Devin Singletary turned in another strong performance, 16 5 yards, a touchdown, and 4 receptions for 43 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson put up 13 points with 7 fantasy points with 7 receptions and 61 yards. So I thought that was really encouraging. But I think on the flip side, if you're the Cleveland Browns, I think you really need to evaluate some things. And I think there comes to be the point in time where you're probably going to have to drop Deshaun Watson from your fantasy teams because the offensive line is now banged up, and they lost their right guard, their right tackle, and their offense, the Giants' elite pass rush with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence. That defensive line, defense had 8 sacks. So the Giants defense / special teams and in my other league, I picked up the Giants defense 30 minutes before kickoff, and it gave me 15 points.
Not bad. You're just mentioning maybe dropping Deshaun Watson. I'm looking at the next 3 games for Cleveland. They're at Las Vegas, at Washington, at Philadelphia, home against the Bengals, and home against the Ravens.
It's yeah, and look, I think all those defenses are a little suspect, but I think what I think with Deshaun Watson is that I think that the main constant last year the year for the Browns was their offensive line. They were able to run the ball effectively, even though Nick Chubb only played a game and a half last season. But the offensive line did not look good against Dallas. They were a little bit better against Jacksonville, but then against the Giants, it was just a mess. And they've given up 16 sacks, which is the most in the NFL. And I think when you have a quarterback that's had problems and the off the field issues for Deshaun Watson have trickled into the in-game performances and behind and with that offensive line, I think the Raiders defense / special teams, I think, is a really good play here for the upcoming week.
Interesting there.
And I think we do have a question that we should look at that.
We do. Riggs says this question: should I trade James Conner and Mike Evans for? I think that's Devon Achane. I have Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown, so I'm feeling good at receiver. I have Shakir, Higgins, Hopkins, and Judy as backups. He's in a 10-man PPR redraft league.
Yeah, so that's a good question right away for John Natale, who comes in here.
Hey, there's our commish.
Yeah, having some connection problems. I went to my phone. I don't know what's going on with the link on the internet, but I'm here. Let's see. It says, should I trade James Conner and Mike Evans for Achane? I have Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown, so I'm feeling good at receiver. I have Shake. That's weird. Yeah, I'm an owner of both Conner and Jefferson. That's really interesting. I mean, personally, I'm comfortable keeping James Conner. He's been very solid, and he's a good pass catcher too.
So, yeah, but I think he says it's a PPR league, so I think it depends. And I think you should keep James Conner because I think if you look.
I think Flynn froze.
Yeah, he had to switch off and switch back on here about a few minutes ago, so he's having some problems here. James Conner, yeah, it's pretty good. It's PPR, so he says got Jefferson, AJ Brown. I guess he's just looking for like maybe a wide receiver 3, maybe, or maybe a flex option. I don't know. Mike Evans is okay. Devon Achane, I probably have to get I'd probably keep Conner. I thought we'd probably do that. Flynn's trying to reconnect here.
Yeah, if there's another running back that you could offer, then I would try to hold on to Conner. Or since you're feeling pretty good at wide receiver, offer another wide receiver in exchange since you're already feeling pretty good there.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yep, and I definitely think I would be on the boat with you as James Conner's value as a pass catcher. But just before you got on, we were talking about the Giants and the Browns and the impact Malik Nabers has made for this offense. So what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. He's definitely earned his role as number one receiver. And speaking of which, we're both wearing the same shirt today. Thibodeau. That's funny.
Yeah,
Thibodeau
on Vaughn.
Yeah, we both got our Thibodeau shirts on today. But he's got to step up a little bit. But yeah, I'm liking what Nabers has done so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane.
And I think we have also.
Yeah, I was saying, Shane
Yeah,
drafted the right guy.
Yeah, and I think and I saw a lot of Giants Twitter trying to do revisionist history, because with the Hard Knocks offseason edition with Brian Dable testing Jayden Daniels at the combine and passing the test with flying colors, and he knew that it was going to be that, but there was going to be no chance that Washington was gonna trade down, or New England to trade down, because both had mandates from their owners to draft quarterbacks. So so you have that.
Right.
But I was looking at the other side, because the Browns' offensive line has a lot of issues, that they lost a couple of their starters over the weekend, and now they go up against Max Crosby and the Raiders next week.
Oof.
So I was saying that the Raiders defense / special teams might be a good play, if you need a defense this week.
Yeah, might be a situation right there. So so congrats to the Giants beating the Bengals. My Cowboys almost pulled off their biggest comeback in league in team history, but they just fell short to the Ravens by a score of 28-25. Wow. I mean, it was like after the first 3 quarters, and then the Cowboys offense just lit it up. I was like, well, where were these guys the whole game?
Yeah, it felt very similar to the Green Bay game in the playoffs last year, where they fell behind quickly, and then everyone padded their stats, for that game. So so I think, yeah, you have that, and what was it? It's 12 different players caught a pass for Dallas on Sunday, led by Jake Ferguson, who had 11 targets and 6 receptions. So I think Dallas was really relying on Jake Ferguson, and Jake Ferguson's got a favorable matchup against the Giants on Thursday night. And the only touchdowns by Dallas were to Cavante Turpin and Jalen Tolbert. But the running game couldn't do anything, and Dak Prescott just had to throw downfield. So which definitely helped in fantasy, because I think he scored like 27 or so points.
Yeah, he did, going 28-51 for 379 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I could have sworn that last offensive possession that the Cowboys had, when they were trying to get within field goal range. I mean, I could swear that was usually the time where Dak Prescott would throw an interception, and that would be the ball game right there.
Yeah, so I think you definitely have that to definitely look at. But on the flip side, with the Ravens, and boy, that was an I took it personally performance for Derrick Henry at 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Whew, that was pretty something.
Yeah, that was amazing right there. Let me see if I can get the team
and the
total
Raven
as far as rushing.
Yeah, and the Ravens as a team ran for 274 yards, 151 for Derrick Henry, 87 for Lamar Jackson, a touchdown, and Justice Hill for 33 yards.
274 yards, man. That's and only 51 total rushing yards for the Cowboys. Can't run the ball. It seems like they can't stop the run.
Yeah, and the Ravens only threw the ball 15 times, and they gave up no sacks.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson could not be touched in that one. Staying in Houston, it looks like Houston. Yeah, what's up?
And I was saying it was going back to the offseason where the Cowboys had a perfect opportunity to replace Tony Pollard with Derrick Henry, but instead trying to play hot potato with the contract extensions, and if they got the extensions done before free agency started, they would have been able to restructure the salary cap it for this year to give Derrick Henry a contract, but that just did not happen. So you could stick that where the sun don't. I also want to go through other games that took place on Sunday. The Steelers took down the Chargers 20-10. So so the Steelers, for somehow, some way, are 3-0. So taking a look at the Steelers, and Najee Harris took the majority of the carries, 18 carries for 70 yards. So I think you think Najee Harris might be RB1 for the time being for the Steelers. So that running back handcuff with Harris and Warren, I think Harris is going to be the go-to guy for the time being. On that one. Elsewhere, George Pickens has 5 receptions, 57 yards. Pat Freiermuth, 4 receptions, 33 yards. Calvin Austin III, 4 for 95 yards, including a touchdown as well. And Justin Fields had a rushing touchdown and 245 yards passing in the victory. So. Meanwhile, as for the Chargers, they're banged up. Their stud right tackle Joe Alt is hurt and is not playing this week against the Chiefs. And Justin Herbert had to leave the game because of an injury, and his status for Sunday is up in the air. But there was not much going on to write home about from a Chargers perspective. J.K. Dobbins only was held to just 44 yards rushing after being the top running back in fantasy the first 2 weeks, and Quentin Johnston caught the only touchdown for the Chargers. So I think you still look at that. How about let's go to the Colts and the Bears. That was an interesting game. The Bears won 21-16. In that one, we look at Jonathan Taylor was definitely the star of that game. 23 carries, 110 yards, and 135 total yards and 2 touchdowns. So Jonathan Taylor just showing why he was why most drafts had him gone at the end of the first round.
Yeah, nice to see. Yep. Nice to see Jonathan Taylor having good numbers again.
Yeah, and I think Jonathan Taylor needed it because his first couple because he had the 15.5 points the previous week and 10.8 points the week before. So that's definitely a step in the right direction on that front. But in terms of everyone else, it's that Anthony Richardson, who threw 2 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. So there was nothing, and he only scored. He was projected to score about 16 points. He only had 5.08 points.
Wow.
and he's got Pittsburgh coming up on Sunday, so that's definitely a little discouraging for the Anthony Richardson truthers like me to start the campaign. But when you look at Chicago, go on.
Yeah, I was just mentioning Caleb Williams went 33-52 for a nice 363 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Only touchdowns were scored by Roma Dunze, who had a very good day, 6 receptions for $112, and Cole Kmet having 10 receptions for 97 yards, which it was okay. I guess it was just those 2 interceptions that kind of killed Caleb Williams right there.
Yeah, and I think you and the upside was definitely of what Cole Kmet was definitely there for a game like this because in normal PPR scoring, Kmet scored 25.7 points. Rome Odunze 23.4. But also remember there was no Keenan Allen in this game, and DJ Moore also had 15 points because he had 8 catches for 78 yards. So you definitely saw a big improvement for Caleb Williams, and you have to be encouraged by what he saw from him on Sunday. So now they head to a matchup against Rams coming up this Sunday. Now, how about the Minnesota Vikings? And I mean, so do you guys think there's been a better team in the NFC so far than your Minnesota Vikings?
Oh yeah, they're definitely the biggest. I think they're the biggest surprise so far this season. I had them in last place.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'll get up the fantasy numbers for the Vikings, and it was a total domination against the team that I had representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. As Aaron Jones, 25.8 fantasy points because he had he had 19 carries, 5 receptions, 148 total yards, and a receiving touchdown, and then Sam Darnold. Who is the number 4 quarterback in fantasy? 4 touchdown passes, 0 picks. So I think you might look at that, and if you think that their matchup against Green Bay is going to be a high scoring affair because both offenses did a lot of good things this week. We'll get to Green Bay in a little bit, but Sam Darnold is someone that you're gonna have to consider picking up a pickup as well, and Sam Darnold did have a bit of a question mark on a little bit on Sunday, but he has since been cleared to go on that. 81 yards and a touchdown that we are keeping track there of that. And that meanwhile going so that CJ Stroud they took him out when the game was out of reach. But Diggs had 10 catches for 94 yards, 19.92 points. And Cam Akers really didn't do much. Nine carries for 21 yards. So that right home about. So yeah, but it was because Damian Pierce had an hamstring injury and Joe Mixon didn't play of an ankle injury. So that was that game. How about the Eagles squeaking out a win over the Saints? Saquon Barkley was dynamite again. He said Saquon Barkley enters the week as the number 1 rusher, number 1 fantasy running back in football, with 17 carries, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including a 65-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter and the game-winning touchdown with about a minute to go. So he racked out 33.6 points, and now they're going up against the Bucs team that's ranked 29th against fantasy running backs this season. So definitely worth monitoring on that front. Elsewhere, Dallas Goedert is now the number 1 tight end in fantasy. 10 catches, 170 yards. He said 27 points, which was the best performance of any tight end in the NFL so far this season in a single game. And they were able to take care of that. The Bucs got squashed at home by the Denver Broncos. 26-7 was the final. Was the final of that game. I did not see that one coming, but yeah, but you know, Yeah, so look punching up some of the numbers on that one. Bo Nix, 216 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. But but they had a very balanced rushing attack. Also, Bo Nix had a rushing touch, 47 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown on the afternoon. So you have that. Tyler Battle had 70 yards rushing, and Cortland Sutton had 11 targets and 7 receptions. So definitely tells you Bo Nix is still leaning on Cortland Sutton, and Cortland Sutton, after 3 weeks, he is ranked. So he's actually ranked number 54. In fantasy, but he had only had 1 catch against the Steelers last week. So we definitely wanted to get him the ball after that. So it's and only 4 targets. So that was a wild game. Titans 30-14. Will Levis made more mistakes. The Titans are now 0-3. So,
oh wow! Now I do. I if you don't mind, I'd like to throw out a challenge flag on the Sunday night game where Kansas City defeated Atlanta 22-17. I gotta ask you guys, was that pass interference near the end of that game?
The one with Kyle Pitts you're referring to?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, obviously the guys in the black and white stripes didn't think so.
Yeah. I posted a Kirk Cousins response video in the chat earlier.
Oh. I'll have to look that up here later here, but yeah, I think those Falcons were robbed of a pass interference call. So
and the crazy thing was that the Falcons had a chance to win the game on the next drive, but the absurd play calling at the end of that game was a total disaster. Like you run the ball, and I know Tyler Algier is a solid back, but you give him the ball instead of Bijan Robinson on 4th and inches in the play that decided the game. My goodness, that was total hot garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Chiefs are 3-0. Meanwhile, the Falcons dropped to 1-2.
And I'll get into that game for just a minute before we go back to the rest of the 1 o'clock games. Carson, and we were looking at how the Chiefs were going to respond after the Isaiah Pacheco injury, because now Pacheco is going to be out at least 6 to 8 weeks because of his injury. But Carson Steele led the way for Kansas City. That he had 17 carries on the day, 17 carries for 72 yards on a day where his sister was getting married, and they had the big jumbotron at the wedding reception to watch him play. Patrick Mahomes, another pedestrian performance to his standards, 26-39, 217 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And another interception by Justin Simmons against Kansas City, but this was a Rashee Rice special, really, for fantasy. 12 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
On the day, so that
seems like Flynn's having some connection issues now. Yeah, his screen's froze. His audio's breaking up on us. Oh, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this question in here from Daniel Goedert. Do y'all read chat? Well, guess what, Daniel? We just did. Thanks for watching, buddy. If you got any fancy questions, you just shoot them out to us, and we'll see if we can try to answer them best we can. Thanks for watching. Looks like Flynn's going to try to reconnect here somehow. I think he was talking about the. Can't remember what. I can't remember what gave me so.
What's up, Lucas?
Hey, there's LC. LC, yeah, as you're going to see just a few minutes from now, he nipped me in our fantasy match, but we'll be getting to that here a little bit later. What's up, LC? I'll see you tomorrow night for oh yes, the Pan Game Pick'ems. That's Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on the A Pizzle 90 channel. That's APIZZLE90. So yeah, I'll be ready for that, LC. And if Alex is watching, yeah, I'll be there too. So check us out then. So what game were we talking about before we had the issues with Flynn here? I think he was just talking about I can't remember. Was he talking about the? I don't know, but how about the Rams over the MASH unit that is the 49ers?
That was a crazy upset.
Man, I would have thought that with all those injuries that the 49ers had, I think I still thought that they were going to be okay, but right, they come back from a double 14. I mean, like they were ahead 14-7 at halftime. And then the Rams come back and win 24-27. Give it to the Rams. I mean, let me get you guys' opinion on this. I know they have their injuries, but was this a bad game or could it be a bad sign for the Niners?
It was just a bad game. So once Kittle gets back, and then I think they'll be fine. And McCaffrey.
All right. What do you think, Fred?
So, I mean, I look. I think that was a big for the Rams because you're an 0-2 team. You're trying to play desperate, and that was the type of season-saving win that was needed by for the Rams because they did not want to go to 0-3 at all because you look at how the rest of the NFC played out but now no team in the NFC is winless anymore. Everyone has at least one win under their belts. It's very critical for the Rams to win that game, and it would have been a statement win for the 49ers without Christian McCaffrey, without Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, but Juwan Jennings was unbelievable in that game.
Oh yeah,
46.5 points in fantasy. So and he's up there as he's up there as a top receiver in regards to that. Juwan Jennings actually goes into the week as the number 4 wide receiver in fantasy through 3 weeks, thanks to his performance and 3/4 of his production came against the Rams in a day where you didn't have Deebo Samuel being able to catch passes, and 11 catches, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns on I think it was 12 targets. So that with San Francisco in that football game.
Looking at the other side here, I mean, not bad for Kyren Williams. 24 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, whatever was bothering him, I guess it wasn't bothering him that much. And it was 2-2 at will with 4 receptions for 93 yards. And Kyren Williams got 2 rushing touchdowns and he got a receiving touchdown. So, big day for him. So I'd say hold on to Kyren Williams if you can. And speaking
Yeah, and
of,
Kyren Williams and Kyren Williams also had a receiving touchdown too. So he had 3 touchdowns on the day.
not bad for Mr. Kyren Williams. And it looks like we've got another question here from Sebastian. He says, trade Drake London, Tank Dell, and Jonathan Brooks for David Montgomery and Marvin Harrison Jr. He's in a full PPR league.
I actually like that. I kind of like that one. That's a bit spicy. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Brooks isn't playing right now. There remains to be seen if he'll be activated week 5. Who knows? I mean, Tank Dell right now is wide receiver 2 at best on that team, even though he's probably really a 3. Yeah, Drake London is decent, but you definitely have a fantastic option with Marvin Harrison, assuming you're on the receiving end of that. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I think that's a very tasty option right there. So I guess we say go for it.
It's but also in Drake last 2 weeks he's had 6 receptions and a receiving touchdown. So I think after, because I think that there's definitely some connection and chemistry that's forming between Kirk Cousins and Drake London, and the first time that Drake London has really been a big time threat in fantasy. So you definitely, I definitely would keep Drake London as well here.
All right. Well, those are our opinions right there. Hopefully kind of help you out there, Sebastian. Thank you for the question, and thank you for watching us. Spread the word to your friends about this show. Let's see. What other games have we not talked about yet? Let's see. How about Detroit over Arizona, 20-13? Speaking of David Montgomery, he did run for 105 yards. I'll say Brown didn't have a good day, but it was decent. He had a total of 75 yards in that particular game.
Now, I was surprised it was a bit of a low-scoring game. I thought both teams were going to get a lot more points.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's go to the box score on this one. Yeah, for the Lions, Jared Goff, 18-23 for $199 with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked twice for total loss of 13 yards there. Meanwhile, Kyler Murray went 21-34 for 207 yards with a touchdown and a pick. He was sacked once for a loss of only 7 yards right there. As I said, David Montgomery, 23 carries for $105 and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, he contributed with 6 carries for 83 yards. Kyler Murray was the leading rusher for the Cardinals with 45 yards on 5 carries. James Conner was limited to only 17 yards on 9 carries. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 receptions, 64 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions had 7 receptions for 75 yards and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs got himself a receiving touchdown as well. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Natale. I thought this probably would have been maybe a higher scoring game than it was.
Oh yeah.
But I think the big story in this game is that both were big time. Had a lot of time upside, and they were drafted early. Both of them got hurt in this game. Jay McBride is in the concussion protocol, while Sam Laporta sprained an ankle. So that's definitely going to be something to monitor. I have Jay McBride in our league, and I have Sam Laporta in my other league. So I will need to monitor that. But if you're looking at Brock Wright, who came in after Laporta got hurt. He actually played 47 snaps out of the 68 for Detroit in that game, and was he able to do anything offensively? I'll pull it up for a second, and he had 4 catches for 34 yards. So. So I definitely think that he's going to be that Brock Wright's somebody that you're probably going to have to pick up on the waiver wire coming up this week if you're concerned about a tight end with Sam Laporta being potentially out next week, and then the following week is the Lions bye week. So I think Sam Laporta owners are probably going to have to go in another direction at tight end this week.
Yeah. And I think there's only one more game to talk about. It was the first of the Monday night doubleheader. The Buffalo Bills circled the wagons big time against the Jaguars by a score of 47-10. Josh Allen was all over the place. 23 out of 30 for 263 yards and 4 big touchdowns. His touchdown passes were to James Cook, who had 11 receptions. The receiving touchdowns. Khalil Shakir had a 72 yards on receiving with 1 touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, Ty Johnson, and the rookie Keon Coleman were on the receiving end of those touchdowns. Meanwhile, James Cook and Ray Davis both rushed for a touchdown. Meanwhile, on the other side, Trevor Lawrence went 21 of 38 for $178 with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But the big glaring number here was Lawrence was sacked 4 times for a total of 36 yards lost. Travis Etienne Jr. had 11 carries for 68 yards. Dearness Johnson with 2 carries for 12 yards. And Brenton Strange was unfortunately the only Jaguar to receive a touchdown in that game. So I guess it was the combination of both the Bills' offense and defense that really set the tone for that game.
Yeah, and Christian Kirk was the only one that had a competent fantasy performance. 8 catches for 79 yards, and Trevor Lawrence's 1 interception was thrown right into the hands of DeMar Hamlin, who came up with his first career interception. And DeMar Hamlin has actually played pretty well this season, so it's very good to see him. And fittingly, that first interception was on a Monday night, where there was a doubleheader where one game was in Buffalo and the other was in the game where he nearly died of cardiac arrest.
Yeah, so congratulations to DeMar Hamlin for getting that first interception. I'm pretty sure they would decide. I think we're sure they decided to let him keep that football. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. But but we'll briefly touch on hot topic because we're about an hour into the show. So I think when we look at things, I think that the big takeaways are the Vikings are the best team in the NFC. The Bills look like a legit Super Bowl contender with what they're able to with what Josh Allen is able to do and with that, and then you have all the NFC teams with the win. Dallas is going to be in a must win situation coming up on Thursday. But I do think it's worth revisiting one of the slides that we talked about back earlier in the season, in the off season, and that was the coaches that could be on the hot seat, and Natale that said that the only 2 coaches that were retained from last year and started 0-3 are both on your list from earlier in the season: Doug Peterson and Zach Taylor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I withdrew Kevin O'Connell, replaced him with Robert Saleh.
Yeah, so I definitely think you you definitely did say that. So yeah,
Yeah.
and good thing for you, you did, because now the Vikings are 3-0, and then there was some questions a little too about Sean McDermott, but now the Bills are 3-0 as well, and they look like a team that can go to the Super Bowl. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
so so, so I thought that was quite interesting to see on that front, but. So, but I think you still have the questions about Mike McCarthy, and if the Cowboys want to bring in Bill Belichick, and because I know the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and I think you got to put the Jaguars in the conversation, because Bill Belichick is going to inherit a quarterback that was once considered a top generational prospect, and he hasn't panned out that way. The first year, or he was neutered by Urban Meyer, and then they bring in Doug Peterson, and even Doug Peterson couldn't coach his way out of a paper bag. And what you're seeing from the Jaguars, what you saw with with what you had from in his 2020 season in Philadelphia, lack of detail, bad defense, and just all around poor performance. So Peterson's on the hot seat. Trent Baalke should have been fired a couple of years ago, and now we need to know, is the owner Shad Khan awake? Is he going to go back to Tanny with how to fix this disaster? Because the Jaguars look like a mess right now, and I was dead wrong about Jacksonville being a playoff team. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh boy.
Yeah.
So what other hot topics did you guys write down that are worth discussing?
Yeah, I think Tim, you wrote down everything.
Yeah, I pretty much has a few things here. Looks like the Raiders are going to keep Minshew Mania at QB1, which I know our friend Alex is going to be very happy about.
Yeah, how did the Raiders get into Carolina? But granted, Tom Coughlin is a senior. It works in the front office as an advisor, and that felt like all those trap games of the Tom Coughlin era.
Mm.
So
Uh,
with the media patting them on the back, telling them how good they were, and then the next week, you see a desperate team, and look, we're down 21-7, and you can't even do things right. So
yeah, seems like that. Looks like speaking of the Panthers, it looks like Adam Thielen is going to be going up on the injured reserve. I think he's out 6 to 8. I think the report said 6 to 8 weeks.
That sounds about right
yeah,
for injured reserve players. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so unfortunately, for the next few weeks, I won't be able to do this year.
Ooga chaka.
Yeah, he's going to be sidelined for a while. So, but we wish him well. We wish him well. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin said there's no need to tag Justin Fields as QB1, even though that was given to Russell Wilson. But as I mentioned on the other show that I do, Ben Roethlisberger himself, the future Hall of Famer, said even if Russell Wilson was 100%, dance with the one that brought you. So Justin Fields, he says go with Justin Fields, and I agree.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, because I think you have to give Mike Tomlin. But I don't know if you can give Mike Tomlin credit yet, because he hasn't had to make that decision yet because of the Russell Wilson injury. But it should. But I hope it's pretty obvious to him that Justin Fields is the quarterback that gives Steelers the best chance to win, and so far the Steelers are 3-0.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Mm-mm.
No. So what else we got here? Shoot number one, Steelers, Dolphins. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says there could be a possible change of quarterback. I mean, it's bad enough that Tua Tagovailoa is out with those concussion issues, but then this past week, Skylar Thompson may have suffered an injury right there. So who's left?
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, he's from the practice squad.
Bring him up from the practice squad. So, and it looks like the Dolphins here. Yeah, of course, the Dolphins had a big loss to Seattle. I didn't think we even talked about that game yet. Seattle and Miami. Seattle 24, Miami 3.
See, I mean, Seattle has been unbelievable defensively, and
very surprisingly.
I mean, Mike McDonald has been a tremendous hire so far for the Seattle unit, and think that was one of the easiest bets of the week. So, but I think Zach Charbonnet was the one that had the majority of the carries, but looking at other things from that ball game, here you had that Geno Smith threw for 289 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. DK Metcalf 4 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Noah Fant came down with 6 catches and 60 yards. Tyler Lockett 5 for 46. Jackson Smith and Jigba 3 for 49, and also Charbonnet picked up 4.6 fantasy points in the passing game as well. So I think you look at that, and then you look at the Dolphins, and Tyreek Hill only had 5 targets, and I think it kind of had to do with the quarterback play. Now, can Tyler Huntley change that on Monday night? For that, sure, because if you look at some of his play with Baltimore and not having a viable receiver he can throw to, but now he's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So don't be totally on board on the Titans over the Dolphins just yet. I do have Tennessee winning the game, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was last week for Miami.
Yeah, and a little bit of sad news coming out from the NFL. The legendary Dolphins running back Mercury Morris, he passed away this past weekend at the age of 77. He was a part of those great 70s teams for the Dolphins, including that very famous 1972 undefeated season for Miami. Very, very talented individual. Right running back, he will be missed. Mercury Morris, rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah. So, and he helped form maybe the greatest 3-man backfield at the running back position in NFL history with him, Jim Kick, and Larry Zonka.
Mm-hmm.
The Zonk, yeah. Man, he was that big fullback that the Dolphins had. I mean, he was like one of the most feared fullbacks because I don't think you wanted to go up against him face to face because he would just run you over like a steamroller.
Yeah, and then Larry Zonka would later host American Gladiators for a couple of years. So
yeah, he did very well there. Of course, I used to watch that show every weekend, every Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun show.
Yeah,
because it used to run on the ESPN Classic channel for many years, but ESPN got rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, why don't we say let's take a look now? Let's finally take a look at at our fantasy matchup from this past weekend and this week. We go, and we are going to start with your matchup. I believe it's your matchup, and it is. So Natale, you improved to 2-1 defeated of. If we can get that up here. Here we go. 134. Take us through it, Natale.
Yeah, that was Just like I did. Just like I brought up a couple weeks ago. I figured that picking up Zach Charbonnet would be a good idea, and so far it's worked wonders. But but then I might have to do some serious thinking. So next week I might have to do some serious thinking because possibly Kenneth Walker could potentially come back. But probably the only bad part was right when I decided to start Bowers, he decided to have a bad game.
Yeah, he's trying to play the hot hand when the NFL is week-to-week product, which is not a terrible idea, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, and then Christian Kirk finally picks a day to come through, but it didn't matter because I almost played this mistake free pretty much.
Yeah,
although I might have problems with Tyreek Hill, but we'll see.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, I think is. I warned you against drafting Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bench him just yet. I'm gonna wait it out and see how he does with Huntley.
Yeah. So meanwhile,
I'm playing it cool right now. So
yeah. Meanwhile, Putnam only got Cole Kmet as fantasy performers. Everyone else turned out and there was if he did start Khalil Shakir, it would have been closer, but it would not have been able to do the trick.
Right.
Yeah. So for the next tab to load up here, but I just want to look at this. So I think yes, and you also I have to consider Jonathan Brooks as well because I know there's been a lot of chatter going on over there in regards to him.
Yeah, he won't be ready until at least week 5. He's not eligible yet.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. So meanwhile, I believe let's go to Lucas and Tim's matchup where Lucas was able to eke out a 4.5 point win for his first win of the season.
Yeah, I really needed to have Brian Robinson Jr. to have a big day. He was projected at 14, but he only got me 10.7. Aaron Rodgers did well for me. He was projected at 15.5, got me 21.04. Chuba Hubbard, I got some good points from him. Garrett Wilson kind of underperformed just slightly. EJ Speed for Indianapolis got me 12 points. Got 19 points for the Jets defense special teams. Cameron Dicker gave me 4.
That was such an easy start, though. With the Jets defense.
Oh yeah, against New England. And looking at my bench, it looks like Najee Harris was left 13.6 on the table, while Matthew Stafford 12.84, but I did better with Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, Lucas got big points from, of course, Jonathan Taylor, 26.5. Got 19.5 from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mark Andrews got a zippity-doo-dah. And
I don't think Mark Andrews got.
Yeah, I think he got 1 target, but I think that was it.
I think they may have to put out an APB, but it seems like Isaiah is most likely their top tight end.
Yep.
Yeah, and he hasn't even done much the past couple weeks.
Yeah, they've read that. Looking at Lucas's bench, he left 21 points on the bench from David Montgomery and 17.32 for Caleb Williams. So actually, Caleb Williams actually scored more than Jared Goff did. Interesting. Okay, let's go to let's take a look at your matchup here, Flynn. You took down Casey 147.98 to 122.6.
Yeah, that one was interesting for a little while.
Yeah, looking at his.
Yeah, that definitely was.
Man, Saquon was a beast.
Can you see it now?
Oh,
Yeah, so 33.6 points. Okay, is the
25-8 from
connection good?
Jamar Chase. I guess your connection may be a little bit jumpy, but we can hear you here and there.
Yeah.
Look in here.
But I think it was it was Jamar Chase's performance that really put this one to a comfortable win here.
Mm-hmm.
No huge points left on the bench, except Jayden Daniels with 28.06 and DeAndre Hopkins with 17.3, Devin Singletary with 18.8. But with that, Flynn remains 3-0 in the league so far. Next one, let's go to you pick
So
one.
because I know there are two. Yeah, so which one pops up on the tab I'm about to share here. So let's go to Dino and Adam, because Adam's now 0-3. So he got nothing out. He got 1 point. He got 1.2 points out of Jameson Williams, and he got 16.38 points. So got underperformance from Patrick Mahomes. So and the thing was that Dino was projected to win by a lot. So but he only won by 9 points, and that's thanks to Joe Burrow's performance late. So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so now Adam is 0-3, and Dave and looking at but David was this close to starting 3-0, which would have been a big tidal wave in our league, but that did not happen. Did not change his tight end. So yeah, and Andrew was able to win despite getting nothing from Jake Elliott, despite getting only 3 points from Zamir White, and getting 0.9 points out of Gus Edwards.
Ugh. That was a very ugly win.
Yeah, I noticed. Noticed I didn't take anything from Puka. He still got Puka Nakua on his starting roster, so he needs to do something about that here pretty soon.
Yeah, but Andrew needs to clean up this roster a little bit also. Very shaky.
So I guess taking a look at our standings right now after 3 weeks. And it looks like Flynn is the only one at 3-0.
Yeah, so I think in our standings, so I'm the only unbeaten. I'm the only one that's unbeaten. So and David and Andrew and I think Putnam, but they're all 2-1. Adam is 0-3, and the rest of the league, Tim, Lucas, Casey, and Casey, and I know I'm missing somebody here, but
Dino.
and Dino, yeah, Dino, they're all 1 and 2. So that was we're up to this for week 4. I'm waiting for comes up. It's going to be we're going to start. Yeah, we're going to start, I think, with your matchup that the two of you are going.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Me and Natale going head to head this week.
I think Natale is projected to win right now, but I just want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 134.5 to 125.1.
Yeah, I made a slight change this week. So as of right now, I'm planning to start Zach Moss.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe if I will click on my team, I do have a waiver. I have a pending waiver move. Let me click on that here. Yes, looks like I am going to be add Justin Fields and drop Matthew Stafford.
Ooh, I think I like that.
What do you say, Flynn? I have a pending roster move here. I'm looking to drop Matthew Stafford and add Justin Fields. I think he's let's see what we got here. I can't really hear him right now. It's like he's you there, Flynn? I mean, we can see.
Yeah, I'm there.
And there he goes.
Oh, okay. I was just seeing to get your opinion on me dropping Matthew Stafford for Justin Fields.
I think there's definitely some value there, because I think you look at Justin Fields in terms of his rushing ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had him last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we got before we move on, we got a few questions that just came up over the last couple of minutes. K Vlog says David Montgomery, Brian Robinson Jr., Calvin Ridley for Kyren Williams and AJ Brown.
That's a bit vague of a question. I'm not sure if who's on the receiving end of what. Are you the one getting Kyren or AJ Brown? I mean, if you are, I think I would say go for it.
Okay.
I like it. But the only problem is we don't know if AJ Brown's going to play next week.
Yeah, you might want to keep an eye on him during the next couple of days. I have another one, Adrian. I'm in an 8-man PPR. I have Kyren Williams, Jameer Gibbs, David Achan, Mason. I have CD but lost Cup to injury. I traded Jameer and Rashid Shaheed for Jamar Chase. Having Jordan Mason kind of scares me because of McCaffrey, but who knows injuries.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're fine right now, because with McCaffrey being placed on IR, that just it basically starts the return window all over again. It's not a pause. Since he was officially put on IR week 2, that means he's not eligible until 2, 3, 4, 5, until at least week 6. So you're fine with Mason for a couple more weeks.
And who knows if McCaffrey's going to come back in time.
Right,
exactly.
So I'd say you're pretty good with Jordan Mason there, Adrian. Thanks for your question. Thanks for watching. Oh, we have one more here. Let me see if I can get that one up here. Oh, actually got a couple more. Here's one more here. Chandler Constantino. Should I pick up Steele or let someone else deal with the headache someone has? Perrine and Hunt will play this week. Not sure if I should waste a claim or not PPR. Also start Carr or Stroud.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Carson Steele right now. It's too small of a sample size. It's hard to judge after one game. But you probably need to see more from him first before deciding what to do. As far as the quarterbacks, I think the safer bet is CJ Stroud.
Agreed. I think Stroud's just slightly better than Carr. Of course, had kind of a bad week last week, but I digress. So let's see here. Hillside has a question here. Is Devon Achane worth a start without a decent quarterback?
I would say so because
Ooh, I think you kind of look at how the of how coaches have to adjust on a week to week basis. I think for example with the Giants last year that even after that Daniel Jones went down to an injury and Tommy DeVito was starting, the Saquon Barkley still put up some impressive numbers. So it shouldn't be like an end all be all for Achane, especially if you're looking at if you're going to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting right there. Thank you very much, Hillside. Millie Mills, what up, fellas? New here. He says, first off, I see a couple of NSC flags in hashtag rise up. Not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean. We have someone here named
Right for the Falcons.
Oh, okay. Falcons. Uncle Ted here. Trey Tucker is a must add. 11 targets for less than 1% of your fab is a no brainer. Would y'all agree with that? Trey Tucker?
I'm not familiar with him.
Not either. Let me look him up here. Trey Tucker. All right, he plays for Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see if I can look on his player page on ESPN. Let's see here. So far for the season, he has 11 receptions, 14 targets for 131 yards, 11.9 average yards per catch, 1 touchdown. I'd say he's maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're in a very deep league, then yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, if you're in a deep league, then yeah, you probably pick him up. Thanks for your question, Uncle Ted. Millie says, how many of y'all got a bid in for Jawan Jennings? Well, I picked him up in one of my leagues last year. He did quite well for me. I think he's available at another league I'm in, so I'll see if I can snatch him before anybody else does. Because I mean, like we said earlier, if Christian McCaffrey does come back to start at running back for the 49ers, we'll just have to see about that. But Millie, thanks for watching and thanks for your question. Getting back to our fantasy matchups here.
I was able to get them back. So we'll start with the matchup between the two of you. 134.5 is the projected number for Natale. 125.1 is the projected number for Timmy. So we're looking at one side with Lamar Jackson, Tyreek Hill. And look, Tyreek Hill is only projected at 13.3 points, which I think is pretty eye opening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be something. Yeah, probably especially with a practice squad quarterback.
Oh yeah, that's going to be.
I'm not so sure if he's bench worthy yet, though. I'm willing to give Tyreek Hill another chance and see if he's back to himself. But then again, I can't blame him if he doesn't get targeted.
Right, and I'm going to have to keep my eye on the condition of Sam Laporta. He was one of my
and Joe Mixon too.
Year. And Joe Mixon, of course, yes.
Yeah, of course he has a sprained ankle, and of Laporta, he's questionable for Monday night, and week 5 is his bye weeks.
Yeah. And I got Najee Harris, who's say he's projected at 13.1. We'll have to keep an eye on his situation right there. So next matchup I want to take a look at.
Yeah, is my matchup against Putnam.
Yeah, right now it's 144.7 to 122 even. Looks like Alex's only check marks is with Aaron Rodgers and with the Texans defensive special teams.
It's he's got Josh Allen as his quarterback.
Oh, Josh Allen.
Yep.
I think this is I don't know. I don't know why I'm looking at the wrong information here.
Yeah. And then in terms of potential decisions, I because I have Ramondre Stevenson projected at 15 points against the 49ers that as potential flex option. So I'll definitely need to monitor the health of both Trey McBride and Smith, and also to monitor the health of Keenan Allen as well. While Putnam's a little banged up because he's got Raheem Mostert and David Njoku as questionable. So on that one,
Yeah.
and then other matchups, Lucas and Adam. Lucas is projected at 121.9. With Jonathan Taylor looking to have DJ Morris as flex. That's really strong, and then Adam is projected only 112.7, and his only advantages are for Patrick Mahomes and the Dolphins defense. So, and Dolphins defense is actually going to be a good matchup because especially because Will Levis is so turnover prone. For Casey and David, David is projected at 119.0. Casey's at 134.8. So it looks like that David's we're gonna have to get to David that he needs to make a change to his wide receivers, but he's looking at Casey's looking at Breece Hall, Chris Godwin, who I actually had. Chris Godwin's had back-to-back excellent weeks. Malik Nabers, that's an interesting matchup against Dallas. So something you want to look at. And then the last matchup, you got Dino and Andrew, 128.5 right now for Dino and 115.3 for Andrew. So it's that he's gonna need to consider trading one of his quarterbacks because it's clogging up his bench.
Right.
And week number 4 in the NFL. So before we get into our starts and sits, my starts and sits and the picks for week 4 in the NFL. So I'll give you an opportunity to ask your tough trivia questions.
Okay. Yes, my friends, it's time to challenge your NFL knowledge once again. It is time once again for tough trivia. So here is my question. As you know, the Cowboys gave up 274 yards to the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday. However, the Ravens do not hold the record for the most yards rushing in one game against the Cowboys. So the obvious question is, who's the team? Yeah, it's the team that holds the record for most rushing yards against the Cowboys in one game. And I'll give you a clue. It wasn't that long ago.
Interesting.
Something to think about there.
I do have a couple teams in my mind.
All right. And Natale and Flynn, didn't you say you had a question of your own?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So there are so the Bengals, the Jags, the Titans are 0-3, and no team has made the last time an 0-3 team made the playoffs was which team?
Oh, the last 0-3. Last 0-3 team to make the playoffs.
0-3 to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's where we are at right now. While you're thinking of that, I'll because I have a stud and sleep for week number 4 in the National Football League. My fantasy dud for week 4 in the NFL has got to be Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts. And look, the Colts are going up in a home matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up on Sunday. And Anthony Richardson is but he can obviously run, but he is very, very prone to mistakes. He threw a couple of interceptions against the Bears on Sunday. So I think, so definitely think, with all the different looks the Steelers are going to give, I think it's going to be a really bad matchup in those events. So my fantasy sleeper for week 4 in the NFL has got to be Alan Lazard, wide receiver of the Jets. They're going up against the Broncos, and it's likely that Patrick Surtain is going to be covering Garrett Wilson most of the day, and I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for Alan Lazard and Aaron Rodgers to utilize their connection that translated from Green Bay into last week's matchup. So I think that's a really good matchup that you shouldn't sleep on. And my fantasy stud for week 4 in the NFL, my must start of the week, it's got to be Brandon Cooks of the Dallas Cowboys. And look, the Giants are banged up with injuries in their secondary. The secondary has been one of the weak points to start the season. And both Dory Jackson and Drew Phillips are probably not going to go. The Giants should be getting Nick McClelland back from injury for Thursday, but given that Dallas is going to have to be relying on the pass after not getting anything going on the ground against Baltimore's rush defense and Zeke Elliott being past his prime, I think you're gonna look for somebody. And I think with Deontay Banks covering CeeDee Lamb, I think Brandon Cooks is going to have a monster day. 10 catches, 100. I think 10 catches. I think he's going to have 100 yards receiving. I think he's going to have a touchdown. So my start of the week is Brandon Cooks to the Dallas Cowboys.
Very nice.
Interesting call there. Interesting call indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into our week 4 picks, but before we do that, so far we go through last week. The straight up winners picks for me, I went 9-7 straight up, 10-6 against the spread. Natale and Flynn both tied with 8-8 straight up. Meanwhile, Natale went 11-5 against the spread, while Flynn went 5-11. So far, after 3 weeks, I have the lead straight up wins 30-18. Natale is 29-19. Flynn is 26-22. Meanwhile, against the spread, Natale has the lead 28-19-1. I'm behind him with 25-22-1. And Flynn with 20-27-1.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that I went 11-5 that week. I was expecting a lot worse.
I think because I think you picked the Commanders with the points. You picked the Panthers with the points. So that definitely helped.
Okay.
So let us go into the week 4 action in the NFL starting on Thursday Night Football Prime Video. And look who it just happens to be. It's the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys over at MetLife. The Cowboys are picked by 5 in this one. And wow. I know I picked my boys, but I guess you guys are thinking that this will be another tough test for your Giants. Flynn, let me start with you on this one.
Yes, yeah, because I think that this has to be like a get right game for Dallas, and I like some of the psychology of the NFL, like teams coming off a loss tend to bounce back the following week, and the Giants are coming off a win, so they might come back down to earth, but I just think this has got to be the get right game for Dallas, because after this they have games against the Steelers, the Lions, the 49ers in succession, and then Atlanta, then Philadelphia, and Houston. So they have a tough stretch of football coming up after this week. So they really need to get this victory. So I think Dallas has been the better team, and I think they with the better quarterback and the better group of receivers. I just mentioned Brandon Cooks. I think he's going to have a monster day. So I think this screams 35-24 Dallas.
And Sally, you've got the Cowboys winning this one 28-21.
Yeah, it's basically all the history. The Giants haven't beaten them in years. I was tempted to make it my lock of the week, but this week I didn't. I don't have a lock.
Interesting. So
I honestly wanted. I was tempted to make it my lock of the week, but I didn't.
So we're going with the Cowboys to win and cover. We are also going with the Saints to win and cover against the Falcons. The Falcons are at home, and they are picked up by 1.5 points. So we all got the Saints. I think the Saints can come. I think they got a good comeback game here, and I think against a shaky Falcons defense, I think New Orleans will take care of it.
But I think the thing is that the Saints were allowed 460 yards of defense and only had 217 yards of offense, and they only lost by 3 points. So if that balances out and Derek Carr doesn't turn the ball over, the Saints are going to win this game.
Mm-hmm. All right, next we got the Bengals and the Panthers. Another one of those cat games. It's in Carolina. Cincinnati is picked by 4.5. Natale and Flynn, they're both having the Bengals to win this one. Natale has he's taking the Bengals with the win. He's taking the Panthers with the points.
Yeah, both of these teams are off to a rough start. So, yeah, I think this is almost a pick-em, essentially.
And Flynn is picking the Bengals straight up to win and cover. Meanwhile, yes, I'm sounding here. After a nice performance that the Red Rifle from TCU, Andy Dalton, did last week, I think he could just be a little bit hotter here, and it's going to be a field goal victory for the Panthers in this one. So this is my upset special right here.
And Ted, didn't you say this was your garbage game of the week?
I don't remember. I have to check let me check the chat really quick.
Yeah, I thought you did say that. Yeah, you did make it your garbage game of the week.
Okay. So with that being said, we're going to move over to Chicago, where the Bears are going to be hosting the Rams. Bears are picked by 2.5 on this one. Flynn and I are both taking the Rams to win and cover. Meanwhile, Natale is picking the Bears over the Rams. This sounds like an upset special, isn't it?
No, the Bears. No, it's a 2.5 point spread, so no upset special here.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a coin flip game for me. So it was just I just when in doubt, pick the home team. That's what I did.
It's and this was a coin flip game for me too. And when in doubt, pick the team with the better coach and the better quarterback.
Right. So Flynn and I are with the Rams. Natale is going with the Bears. Always an interesting NFC North matchup here when Minnesota travels to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Green Bay is picked by 2.5. Natale and I are both picking the Packers to win at home. Flynn is actually taking the Vikings in a pretty good way over the Packers.
So yeah, I mean the Vikings look like the most complete team in the NFC. I mean because looking at Brian Flores' defense, it is unbelievable. They've been flying around. They got 5 sacks on on the Texans last week, including 3 from Jonathan Grenard, who came over to the Vikings in the offseason from Houston. So it's again a little bit of revenge there.
All right. Now we go to another divisional matchup from the AFC South. The Jaguars heading into Houston, take on the Texans. Houston at home, 6-point favorites. We are all in agreement that the Texans will take this one. In fact, I am so sure of the Texans winning this one because I've made the Houston Texans my lock of the week. Any other thoughts on this one?
So, I mean, I feel better about this because the Texans are coming off a loss, and it feels like a get right bounce back game against the Jaguars that I saw some power rankings, and some have the Jaguars as ranked number 32. I mean, it's been a total mess. And defensively, it's not good as well. And Jacksonville coming off a short week too, so I think that's a problem among itself. So,
all right. Next, we go to Indianapolis, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming in at 2-point favorites. We're all in agreement to take the Steelers to win and cover on this one.
Yep, same thing with the Jets and the Denver Broncos. Now the Eagles and the Bucks. I thought this was a tough game to pick, but I think the Bucks are going to win this game. I feel better about Tampa in this game than I do Philadelphia, which I think is crazy. So, but I think Tampa bounces back after a loss, in Philadelphia, who barely got by New Orleans despite totally dominating them. In the line of scrimmage, it's just some dumb decision making by Nick Sirianni. So that's why, and it's also a place where the Eagles have had troubles recently. I mean, 2 of the last 3 years, the Eagles got knocked out of the playoffs there. So,
Interesting there. Yeah, Tampa Bay is. Tampa Bay is looking pretty good so far after the first 3 weeks of the season.
yeah, although they got creamed by Denver on last week, but they're 2-1.
Yeah. Oh, we are unanimous with the hometown Cardinals welcoming the Commanders into Arizona. The Cardinals are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
Myself and Tally are taking the Cardinals. Flynn is taking the Cardinals with the win, with the Commanders with the points.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna come down to a winning field goal. So I grabbed the points to guard against the winning field goal situation.
All right. This one is next one is pretty much a no-brainer here. San Francisco at home against the Patriots. San Francisco picked by 10. Yeah, we all taking the Niners to win, but the tally actually has the Patriots covering.
Yeah, I think this is a little aggressive considering right now with the 49ers injury woes. Even if they're good, to get their guys back, it might take them a little time to get back into better shape. So with that, I think I'm gonna give the Patriots the benefit of the doubt here. I'm gonna give them at least a chance here.
Interesting.
But I just think San Francisco coming off a loss. I mean, if they were coming off a win, I would say okay that the media would pat them on the back for a few days, and then the Patriots might try to surprise in the way they did against Cincinnati. But this is a get right game for the 49ers. So I think those considerations made this my lock of the week.
All right. So Flynn's locking the Niners here. Cleveland at Las Vegas. The Raiders are 1-point favorites. Flynn and myself are taking the Raiders, while Natale is actually taking the Browns on this one.
Yeah, this was another one that I had trouble with, and this was another like coin flip game for me. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll just go with the Browns. I'm like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I thought this was the toughest game of the week for me to pick, but I just think Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby licking their chops against Cleveland's offensive line to Deshaun Watson. I just think it's going to be a problem. So I never thought I'd say this, but I mean I did say it about 7 days ago, but I think the Raiders are going to win this game, bounce back from the loss to the Panthers.
And based on the score, this looks like your garbage game of the week.
I mean it looks like it, but it's not. But that's not my official garbage game. So that'll come in a little bit. But since that's revealed now, you know what it's going to be. But so we got the Chargers and the Chiefs.
I know where you're going now. Okay.
Yeah, we all agree on the Chiefs to win, although Tim is taking the Chargers with the points, but I couldn't pick the Chargers because Joe Alt is hurt and Justin Herbert's going to be compromised, and I think the Chargers are a different team with and without Justin Herbert, so I got that. Sunday Night Football, the Ravens and the Bills. It's going to be a tremendous game. I'm going with Buffalo to win the game. I just think Josh Allen's going to be the best player on the field on Sunday night, so I'm hence going to pick Buffalo to win a thrilling game, while Tim and Natale are going to take the Baltimore Ravens. Now my garbage game of the week is right here. Yeah, Will Levis against Tyler Huntley. Yikes! And it's a Monday night. It's a Monday night game. Jeez.
Sounds like it could have been something from the old USFL days back in the 80s. I'm going to try to give the Dolphins the benefit of the doubt here, but I guess y'all thinking if it's like a 1-point difference here, just go for the home team. So I guess I can see that. It's going to be interesting, but not that interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, just two total complete strangers, in my opinion, starting at quarterback for both of those teams there.
Yeah. And then against the spread, the second toughest game of the week to pick me was the Seahawks and the Lions. Now, but I think the thing about the Seahawks is the quarterbacks they've beaten have been Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and Skylar Thompson. Those have been the three teams they've beaten, the three quarterbacks. So now, but Jared Goff is actually the first real quarterback that they've seen this season. So it's going to be a monster test for Mike McDonald and the Seahawks if they can go on the road and beat the Lions, be a win in Detroit again like they did the last couple of years. Boy, that's going to send some shockwaves around the league.
Oh yeah. So we're all unanimous in taking the Lions to beat the Seahawks in the. By the way, that is the second game of the second straight doubleheader on Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think, in my opinion, is absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you take a look at with the Bills Jaguars, then everyone turned their attention to Washington Cincinnati. So I think there was a bit of a safety net there. I think you're going to have a similar thing coming up this weekend. So if the Monday night game was like that, I guess I'd probably be down for that, and all of my eyes would be on the Seahawks and the Detroit Lions.
Well, I suppose so.
Yeah, so before we answer the trivia questions, we still have another batch of questions that came in the comments. So let's answer them.
Yes, Jason Ortiz. Will you trade McBride and Sutton for Stevenson and Pittman? My backup tight end is Fergie. Of course, he's probably referring to Jake Ferguson from the Cowboys.
Trade McBride.
Trey McBride and Courtland Sutton. I guess he's referring to Ramondre Stevenson and Michael Pittman.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's a bit ugly. I mean, Stevenson and Pittman are both struggling pretty bad. I mean, McBride has been fine. Sutton's been, he's been okay. I don't know. I don't like this one.
Yeah, I mean, if Bo Nix is going to be relying on Courtland Sutton, I think Sutton's going to have minimum of 10 targets a game. So I think you're gonna want to keep Sutton, and that basically means 5 catches minimum on a week-to-week basis. So I definitely would keep that. But I think you would say that Trey McBride is banged up with the concussion. So I think that's going to be something that they're monitoring.
All right. Joseph Park has a question here. Hey, man, lost Pacheco and have Connor.
Amon-Ra
St. Brown, Nico Collins, Chris Olave. Do you think I should deal Olave for Ramondre or Nico in 2-for-1?
I see. So I think if you're that thin at running back, I think you really need to consider riding with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Nico Collins and get Ramondre to complete your lineup. Then you'll have a respectable starting lineup. So I would definitely send that offer.
Sounds interesting right there. Thank you for your questions, Joseph. Thanks for watching. Our friend Dashy, did you highlight my comment? Oh,
I chose not to highlight that comment because it's part of what we're about to do next. Answer the questions.
Oh, really? Well,
yes.
Okay, so it's time to answer the questions.
And it's actually for my question. So he put so the last team that made the playoffs after starting 0-3 was what team?
I mean, I think Dashy's trying to tell us something. I feel like it has to be an AFC team. I don't really think. I doubt it's the Bengals though.
No, it's not the Bengals.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I think it could be a team from the same division. I was thinking possibly like the Ravens, and I was also considering the Texans. I was also considering the Jaguars. I have it down to those 3: Ravens, Texans, and Jaguars.
The first team that came to my mind was the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that's the one I feel like it would be also. Because I know the Ravens were 0-2 a handful of times and made the playoffs, but I can't recall if they went 0-3 ever. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Texans also, Tim. I think you're right.
Yep, and both of you would be right. This was the comment that I chose not to highlight before. It's the 92 Chargers, 95 Lions, 98 Bills, and the 2018 Houston Texans, the only team in the 21st century that made the playoffs after starting 0-3. Now on to Tim's question.
Okay. Of course, my question has to do with the Cowboys defense giving up a lot of rushing yards. As I did mention, the Cowboys gave up 274 yards to the Ravens this past Sunday, but 274 is not the record. The question is, which team holds the record for the most total rushing yards against in a single game against the Cowboys?
I feel like it would be. I feel like it has to be an NFC team. A couple of teams that came into my mind. I had the Lions in my head, the Saints in my head. I had the 49ers in my head because I think they seem to play each other here and there quite often. I'm gonna go
now. Are we talking about regular season or postseason or regular or postseason?
I think it was a regular season.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's the 49ers, but then again, I want to pull back. My final answer is going to be the Saints.
I see. My final answer is going to be the Eagles.
Saints and Eagles, those are very good teams. But unfortunately, neither one of you are correct on this one, actually.
I hope it wasn't my initial thought.
Was your initial thought the Cleveland Browns?
No. My first guess was the 49ers, but I pulled back and guessed Saints.
No, it was actually the Cleveland Browns. As I said, it wasn't too long ago. It was October 4th, 2020.
Oh.
The Browns, it was a real shootout, but the Browns ended up winning that game 49-38. And in that game, the Browns put up 307 total rushing yards against the Cowboys, which was distributed lustily. Dearness Johnson, 13 carries for 95 yards. Odell Beckham Jr., 2 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he had the end around touchdown. I remember that.
The end around. Kareem Hunt had 11 carries for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that was it. Nick Chubb had 6 carries for 43 yards, and Dontrell Hilliard had 5 carries for 19 yards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rushers for the Browns, totaling 307 yards. So that's the record right there.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, guys, I guess we had another great show. About time to turn out the lights and lock the doors on this one. But before we do, of course, as many of you know, John Flynn has 2 podcasts for Hooked on Sports each week during the NFL season. One is the NFL season. Second one is the other sports. Playoff races in the Major League Baseball is really heating up. We're getting down to the final week or so.
Yeah, and since they last talked, the Orioles clinched the playoff spot. They beat the Yankees tonight. The Mets lost to the Braves. The Diamondbacks lost to the Giants, and now the Padres are up 4-1 going into the 9th inning of that one. So it looks like the Padres are about to clinch a playoff spot with the victory. The Tigers beat Tampa today. So. It's earlier today, but they moved up the game to accommodate the weather. But in terms of the wild card standings, the Royals the Royals snapped their 7-game skid. The Twins fall 2 back. The Mariners fall 2.5 back. The Astros clinched their division tonight. So it's a lot of fun there. I also talked about college football with Michigan taking down USC on Saturday. Now. And then Tennessee beat Oklahoma in Oklahoma's SEC debut. I wasn't really surprised by that result. But we got big games coming up this Saturday. We got Georgia and Alabama. That's going to be a monster showdown. A college game day obviously is going to be there. Other matchups: Louisville and Notre Dame, and Illinois taking on Penn State. Illinois is undefeated, ranked number 19 after a win against Nebraska the other night.
And if I'm not mistaken, the number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns are playing against Mississippi State.
Yeah, and I think it's their SEC debut in first conference game as an SEC team.
Yeah, so before we leave, we just got a final last minute question here from Virgin Steve. Let's just go straight to the question. Is Sean Johnson worth a pickup to burn my waiver? I'm third, so I guess he's third on his waiver list for his league.
Yeah, I don't hate it. DeAndre Swift has been struggling massively, and if he continues to keep this up, you could see Johnson possibly get more touches over him. Oh yeah, why not? He's worth a stash.
So Johnson had 12 touches on Sunday, eight rushes for 30 yards and 4 catches for 32 yards. So he picked up 10 points the other day. So the Rams could be an intriguing play there in terms because they're playing the Rams on Sunday.
All right. Well, thank you for your question, Steve. Thanks to everybody who put in questions. Thanks to everybody watching. Dashy, Joseph, Jason, versus Steve. Everybody else, y'all spread the word. Tell us about us. If you like this show, hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up so you'll know when our next podcast is available. Well, of course, it's available every Tuesday, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. In the meantime, John Flynn has his Hooked on Sports shows 2 times a week. Of course, I am joining Alex and Lucas for the Pain and Game Pick'em show on the APIZZLE 90 channel, APIZZLE 90, 10 Eastern, 9 Central every Wednesday. So, guys, great show.
Yeah, definitely.
And looks like our teams are going to be kicking off week 4 with Thursday Night Football, Cowboys versus Giants. So, be interesting to see. So, thank you, Flynn.
Thank you, Timmy, and thank you, John.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Natale, and thanks all of you for watching. We will convene once again 7 nights from now. We'll look back at week 4. We'll look ahead to week 5. So
yeah, first set of bye weeks coming up.
Because I know the Eagles and the Lions are 2 of the teams on buys. I think the Chargers are on buy as well. So you definitely need to pony up for that, especially with the tight ends, because you don't have Dallas Goedert and you don't have Sam Laporta for that week.
Right. So, hope you enjoy the show. We'll see y'all back here next week. On behalf of John Flynn and John Natale, my name is Tim McClelland. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Enjoy the games. Have a great weekend. See you back here next Tuesday night right here on this channel. Take care, everybody. God bless you. As always, be a good sport. See ya.